WandaVision, WandaVision. Dun,
How long
dun,
have you been
dun.
sat on that?
I actually just came up with it.
Oh, well
yeah.
done.
But now that you've said how long we've been sat on it, you've wrecked me. You've absolutely destroyed me. Yeah, it was an interesting episode.
It was. It was a very interesting episode. It seemed really different to the episodes before it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's dictated by the fact we've moved into a new decade again, haven't we?
Yes, I suppose.
And I think the first two, even though it's supposed to be like 50s into 60s, because they were still black and white, they felt like and the fact they came out together, they felt like very much their own thing, didn't they? So this is kind of like,
That makes sense,
it almost feels a bit like this is episode 2 in a way.
Yes.
Yeah.
I really liked it. I really like how the reality powers are getting more and more ostentatious, and you're starting to see like Wanda actually is controlling it more and more and more. Like we had a teaser of that, didn't we, last week with the beekeeper suit and her being like no, but now the fact she's actually like rewriting what her husband's saying.
Yeah.
Because there's that moment, isn't he, where he's like, no, nothing's actually right now. Something feels off. And then there was that great edit where she just sort of like cuts away, and then
I thought I'd
so
like
she's
sound
rewriting
the...
it.
Sorry.
from this episode, I got the impression she's more in control of it in
Absolutely.
moments, and then I think she is purposely like almost rewriting her own reality. Do you know what I mean? Like her own version of it. So I think I think for the most part, she's unconsciously aware of what she's doing, and then like obviously, I mean, we'll get onto it maybe towards the end of the episode, but like obviously when Monica Rambeau gets thrown out of the reality, she definitely knows what she's doing there, doesn't she?
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm just intrigued because I don't know really anything about the comic, whereas I know you know a few little bits that you've told me before.
Well, yeah,
So I don't know what it is at all.
Well, in the comics, like, she kind of has a bit of a breakdown with her powers, and that causes a load of, like, catastrophe. And I'm thinking... Catastrophe. I'm thinking the fact that she's in Doctor Strange 2, I'm pretty sure they announced her as the apprentice to Doctor Strange.
Yes, that's what I've heard.
But sneaky Marvel, I wouldn't be surprised if what's going to happen...
Trixie
Hobbits is she's going to be the villain. Because... they've said this is going to set up Doctor Strange 2, and obviously, like today, I thought it was actually, it wasn't a very plot-heavy episode, was it? There was obviously like the pregnancy going on, but there wasn't as many situations of like, oh, we've got to take the boss to dinner, all this sort of stuff. But the fact it then ended with her doing something quite intimidating, I thought was really interesting.
She's a bit scary.
Yeah, she wasn't. That's the first time I've ever seen that character and thought, oh, like she would actually, if you were in a room with her and she turned on you, like. We've always known that she would be able to screw you up, but even in Age of Ultron, when they portray her as a quote-unquote villain, I don't feel intimidated by the characters, because obviously you know they're going to be good by the end, don't you, her and Peter?
Yeah.
Whereas here, I was actually like, oh, is she Breaking Bad a little bit? She's going to... Do you know what I mean? Like, this is just the beginning, isn't it? Her throwing Monica out of the reality. Yeah. She's going to do more and more outlandish things to try and keep their little world afloat. Yeah. I think that's going to be really interesting. But also, like, where does that go in Doctor Strange 2? Like, is Doctor Strange going to eventually have to step in and try and stop her? I think that'd be really cool.
Do you not think it's a bit overdone, though, having the female character who is a little bit off the rails and unstable due to trauma, and she becomes a villain and she's really, really powerful? I feel like it was done in X-Men. It's
what with like Dark Phoenix and stuff.
Yeah, I just feel like it's a bit overdone.
I guess there's always a way to avoid the cliches and the conventions. I do see what you mean, but then is there a way that you can do it and actually have an interesting discussion about mental health and how these things affect you, and even the greatest heroes like Wanda can still break down.
No,
do you know what I mean?
of course. I think there could be a way of doing it.
Yeah, but I do see what you mean, because it's kind of. It's playing into a bit of that trope that they did in Game of Thrones again, isn't it? Of like, oh, once the female character becomes a certain level of power, she must be stopped.
Yes.
No, I do see that. Maybe you've made me rethink it. Well, you know what? I trust Marvel. We'll see what happens. I trust Marvel as long as they don't bring back Captain America. That'll break my trust.
Yeah, that's true.
Shameless plug.
Any other funny moments from the ep you really liked?
I thought it was really clever how these two characters who are so capable, and they've fought Thanos. They've essentially.
I wouldn't say Vision fought Thanos.
Well, not Vision, but he's done some other stuff that was good, didn't he? They're very capable, very powerful, but they were just reduced to quivering messes by a pregnancy.
Yeah,
and I thought that was brilliant. Like when he was
really nice.
panicking and he was floating.
Yeah.
And then he was having to breathe to come back down. I thought that was really funny.
My favourite gag was the dude with the tash when his wife comes in and she's like, do I look fat in these earrings? And then the lights go out.
Oh, yeah.
And then he's like, oh, thank God.
Is that
so good.
Phil?
Yeah,
Our
his name's
friend
Phil.
Phil,
Yeah.
yeah.
We've been looking up the names, and then Herb, who's the
Who's the
neighbour,
neighbour, yeah.
he was like trimming into the the brick, wasn't he? Oh, it keeps properly making me laugh, and I think it's also because the setup is so grounded, but we've still got Paul Bettany looking like a member of like Blue Man Group spin-off Red Man Group. With that, like his eyes just pop out, don't they?
Yeah.
With that red
They do,
makeup, and then
they do.
he's got those perfect teeth. Whenever he just gives a smile to Wanda, it's making me laugh. Like he's not even cracking gags. I just find it so funny, like that image of him going like.
It's kind of like how, do you know how like Chewie is kind of creepy when you notice that it's just his human eyes?
Yeah.
But like, it's the opposite of like, it's really funny that it's his human eyes. Sort of thing.
Yeah.
Have you seen the picture of them like on the swing and they've like missed a bit of his arm in his shirt where the hole
yeah.
is, and it's
Yeah.
like his regular
good.
skin.
I really like that though. I really like that. I think the other thing that was interesting this week is when Herb and Agatha Harkness seem to reveal that they actually know they're in a fake reality. Whereas I
Yes.
think last week and obviously episode 1, it seemed like they were all kind of in on it, unawares.
Yes.
Yes. Which I think made me really intrigued in terms of like where it's going to go. Because I'm like, oh, okay, so they all know then, like
Yes.
why they
Yes.
because he's close to saying, isn't he? Herb?
Yes.
Which I think
But
was interesting.
it reminded me of, you know, USS Callister from Black Mirror, and then also the episode that's kind of based on from Twilight Zone. You know, where there's the little boy, and he's like all powerful. You haven't seen it, Terry?
I think
I
I've
have
heard
not.
about it. But
It's called
Sorry.
it's called It's a Good Life, right? And basically what it is it's like a small town, and this 6-year-old kid, he's like godly powerful. Like there's no way, like anything he wants, he can make happen basically. And all the parents, all the adults, sorry, and even his parents, like do everything he wishes. But obviously, because he's got the mind of a child. Like you imagine a toddler
Yeah.
with all might powers, like they'd just be a little shit, wouldn't they? So like he's just making them do whatever they want, and they all start performing how he would like them to perform. So I'm wondering if it's the same thing with the people in the town in WandaVision. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know the way they're all like acting like they're in the 50s, and then suddenly it gets to the 70s, they're acting like the 70s. I wonder if like they're consciously acting and like they could just switch it off whenever they want. Because the way they switch it off with Vision is really intriguing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they're all
Interesting.
scared of Wanda, and they're actually like, they're doing all that. Oh yeah, let's watch the magic show. Let's do all this. Like, do you know what I mean?
Wow. That's terrifying.
Yeah, it is
That
terrifying.
a really terrifying thought.
It's a fantastic
Imagine that.
episode.
It's a great idea.
And also, I love that USS Callister episode from Black Mirror.
Yeah.
It's one of my favourites.
It's a fantastic episode, that.
Yeah.
Again, I have not seen it.
You haven't seen
I haven't seen Black
So
Mirror,
good.
really. I only watched the Bandersnatch episode because I'm interested in interactive fiction.
Damn, that's
okay.
tragic. You
So
should
I know.
watch
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Best
And
of.
I've also seen the Miley Cyrus episode
Oh, I haven't
that
seen
I
that.
watched.
See, I haven't
with
seen that
an old
one.
housemate.
That's interesting. Because I was really into Black Mirror when it first came out, when it was like a Channel 4 thing back in the day. I was really absorbed by it. And then I wasn't that impressed with the first Netflix season. And then I liked season 4. And then for some reason, I just feel like season 5. It was season 5 with Anthony Mackie, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I watched the Anthony Mackie episode. I wanted to watch the Andrew Scott and Miley Cyrus episodes, but I just, you know, when you want to watch that episode of TV and then you just don't. And
I
think
did the
it
exact same
speaks.
thing, mate.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I watched the Anthony Mackie one and it's Abdul Mateen as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then yeah,
Sorry,
I just-
Abdul Mateen 2.
2. Yeah, the sequel.
The 2 is important because it represents that he's twice as awesome as everyone else.
It is true. He's fucking awesome.
Amazing.
he is awesome.
He is awesome. Yeah, just a thought back on WandaVision was just that my favourite thing about this whole series so far is just like giving Paul Bettany like his time to shine. Like, because I'm like, he's never really had that, and we've said before, like, he's such a great actor, and like he could bring so much to Vision, and I feel like they never really did that too much in the movies. Like, not that I don't dislike him in the movies, he just didn't really. Whereas like this, I'm really getting to see like his chops, and obviously we all love a bit of like cheeky Bettany, like having the comedy element as
Yeah.
well. But I'm just excited to see it when things get a bit more real, because I think now they've opened him up to be a bit more loose when it comes to like what he can do with the character. I'm
Yes.
intrigued to see how they go now when things start to go tip top.
Yes.
It feels very much how, like, Thor opened up in Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Cap kind of opened up a bit more in Winter Soldier. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, they've expanded what they can do with that character. He's not just going to be the guy that's going like, oh, you know, chaos breeds catastrophe. You know? He's like, you know,
Paprika?
I think they're pacing it really, really well. Like, they're giving you just enough to go, yeah, I want to come back next week to find out,
Yeah.
but they're not giving you enough that we could guess what is happening.
Drip
Do you know what I
feeding.
mean?
And enough of the real world has bled in now the stakes are getting a bit more nasty, aren't they? Although I must admit, I've been it only speaks to the quality of how much they've been nailing the sitcom stuff that my heart sank a little bit when we cut to like the real MCU world at the end, because it's like it's going to get more of this, isn't it, and less of the sitcom stuff.
Yeah.
But hopefully the real world stuff is going to be just as good.
Yes.
And I
Oh,
think it
of
will
course.
be. I think it will be.
Of
But
course.
it's just like, honestly, it just speaks to the fact that I could do hours and hours of them just in a sitcom scenario.